Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I was on top of the world when Veronica said yes. After 3 years of dating, I knew she was the one. We had a perfect relationship, or so I thought. Everything felt right, from the way she laughed at my dumb jokes to the way she held my hand when we walked together. I couldn't imagine my life without her. We started planning the wedding almost immediately. Veronica took charge of most of the details. I didn't mind. I was just happy to be marrying her. One night, as we were going over the guest list, she casually mentioned her bachelorette party. Rachel and the girls want to take me to Vegas, she said, her eyes lighting up. Vegas, huh? I raised an eyebrow. It'll be fun, just a weekend with the girls, nothing crazy, she assured me. All right, I said, smiling, just don't gamble away all our savings. She laughed, leaning in to kiss me. Don't worry, I'll be good. I believed her. The day of her trip, I helped her pack. We joked around and everything felt normal. Are you sure you don't want to come along and crash the party, she teased. Nah, I trust you, I said, grinning. Plus I'll be busy with my own bachelor party. Just promise me you'll behave. She gave me a playful punch on the arm. You've got nothing to worry about. I think you can last until Monday evening without me. We drove to the airport on Friday morning, and I kissed her goodbye, watching her disappear through the security gates. I had no idea then that it would be the last time I'd look at her without feeling a pang of betrayal. The first night she was gone, I didn't think much of it. I texted her good night, and she replied with a short good night, love, miss you already. That same night, I had my own bachelor party. Nothing wild, just a small gathering with a few close friends at Anthony's place. I've never been a fan of big parties or the whole last night a freedom concept. We ordered some pizza, cracked open a few beers, and spent the evening reminiscing about old times. It was low-key, exactly how I liked it. The night went on without much fanfare. By the end, I felt good, grounded, and ready to step into married life. I figured Veronica was having the time of her life in Vegas, and I was happy for her. But as the weekend progressed, her responses became fewer and more delayed. When I called, she often didn't pick up, sending a text hours later saying she was busy. I chalked it up to her having fun and being caught up in the excitement of Vegas. Still, something didn't sit right. I tried to ignore the growing pit in my stomach. Then late on Sunday night, my phone buzzed. It was Rachel, one of Veronica's bridesmaids. Dave, she whispered, I need to talk to you. Rachel, what's going on? Is everything okay? Not really, she said, her voice hesitant. Something happened. I don't know how to say this, but Veronica cheated on you. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. What are you talking about? That can't be true. I saw it happen. Rachel said she met 2 guys at the club. They were drinking, dancing. One thing led to another. I tried to stop her, but she didn't listen. I was silent, unable to process what I was hearing. Dave, I'm so sorry. I thought you should know. I ended the call, my hands shaking. My mind raced, replaying every interaction with Veronica over the past few days, the delayed responses, the missed calls. It all made sense now. She wasn't just busy, she had been with 2 guys. The next morning, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I called Veronica, and after a few rings, she answered, sounding groggy. Hey Dave, she mumbled, it's early, what's up? We need to talk, I said, my voice cold. Talk about what? She asked, her tone still casual. Rachel called me last night. She told me what happened. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then, Dave, did you cheat on me? Veronica, I demanded. Tell me the truth. Yes, she whispered, her voice breaking. I was drunk, and I made a horrible mistake. A mistake, I repeated, anger boiling over. You're supposed to be marrying me, and you slept with 2 guys. How is that a mistake? I don't know what to say, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. I love you, Dave. Please, I didn't mean to hurt you. How do you not mean to hurt someone when you cheat on them? I snapped. You made a choice, Veronica. I know, she said, her voice filled with regret. I hate myself for it. I'll do anything to make it right. What you did can't be fixed, I said, my voice hard. I'm canceling the wedding. What, you're going to cancel our wedding for this? I told you I was drunk and it didn't mean anything. You slept with 2 guys at the same time, Veronica. How's that not a big deal? I shot back, my voice rising with anger. I'm sorry, Dave. I wanted to do something crazy on my last night as a single woman. It doesn't mean anything. I love you so. Now you admit you wanted to Do it, hub, because earlier you were blaming the alcohol, I said, my tone sharp. Yeah, I admit it, she said, her voice steadying. I wanted to do something fun, something crazy before getting married. It was about me, but that doesn't mean I don't love you, and I didn't expect you to find out, so if I hadn't found out, you would have kept this a secret forever and pretended like it never happened. I asked, my anger boiling over. I'm sorry, Dave, I didn't want to hurt you. It's over. Veronica, the wedding is off, and I don't want you to come back to my house again. Without waiting for her to answer, I hung up the phone, cutting off any chance for her to plead further. Almost immediately, my phone started buzzing. Veronica was calling me nonstop. Each time I stared at the screen, my heart pounding, but I didn't answer. I couldn't hear any more excuses or apologies. When Veronica finally returned from Vegas, she came home to find me sitting in the living room. Dave, she said softly, setting her bags down. Can we talk? What do you want here? I told you not to come again. She sat down, folding her hands in her lap. I'm so sorry, she began, her voice trembling. I don't know how I let it happen. I love you, and I want to fix this. How do you fix something like this, Veronica? I asked, my voice devoid of emotion. You broke my heart. I'll do anything, she said. Therapy, counseling, whatever it takes. There's nothing you can do to fix this, I said. The trust we had is gone, and it can never come back. She started crying, but I didn't care. I just sat there feeling numb. Pick up your things and leave the house. I don't want you here anymore, I said, my voice cold. Without another word, she went upstairs, packed most of her stuff, and left. I sat there for a while, staring at the empty space where she used to be. The silence was deafening, and it felt like the weight of the whole situation was crushing me. The next thing I had to do was the hardest part, calling people. I had to let them know the wedding was canceled and tell them what had happened. Friends, family, everyone who had been waiting for the big day. Each call was a punch to the gut. I could barely get through the words without feeling my chest tighten. They were all shocked. Some couldn't believe it, but everyone understood why. It was a blur. Honestly, a string of uncomfortable conversations that dragged on longer than I wanted. Each I'm sorry, or I had no idea, was like a reminder of how deep the betrayal cut. Later in the evening, my phone buzzed. It was Rachel. Hey Dave, she said, her voice soft but concerned. I just wanted to check in on you. How are you doing? I leaned back on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen. I'm not great, Rachel. It's been a rough day. I can imagine, she said, her tone understanding. Listen, if you want to get out of the house, talk to someone, anything, let me know. I'm here for you. I don't know, I'm not really in the mood for anything right now, I replied, my voice trailing off. We don't have to do anything big, she said. Just grab a drink, chat for a bit. I think you could use a distraction. I thought for a moment. The silence in the house was suffocating. Maybe getting out, talking to someone who wasn't involved in all this mess would give me some relief. Yeah, maybe that's not such a bad idea, I said, my tone softer now. Great, I'll text you the details, she replied. Before hanging up later that night, I met Rachel at a small bar down the street. It wasn't too crowded, and the soft hum of conversation in the background was a welcome relief from the noise in my head. I grabbed a seat at a table in the corner, and Rachel joined me shortly after, her eyes scanning the place before landing on me with a warm, sympathetic smile. Hey, she said, taking a seat next to me. How are you holding up? I shrugged, trying to keep my emotions in check. I'm still processing everything. I don't even know how to feel anymore. Rachel nodded, sipping her drink. I can only imagine you must be going through a lot. Yeah, I just didn't see it coming. I thought I knew her. We were about to get married, and now it's all falling apart. It hurts. She doesn't deserve you, D. Ave, Rachel said quietly, her voice soft yet firm. You deserve someone who sees you for who you really are, someone who values you the way you should be valued. I looked at taken. There was something in her eyes, an intensity one hadn't noticed before. Thanks, Rachel, I said, my voice a little quieter. That means a lot coming from you. She smiled, her gaze lingering on me a little longer than usual. The playful glint in her eyes was hard to miss now. She leaned in closer, her hand brushing against mine just enough to feel the warmth of her skin. You're a great guy, Dave, she said, her voice lowering. You deserve better than what Veronica gave you. I swallowed hard, my pulse quickening. I wasn't sure if it was the alcohol, the pain from the breakup, or something else. But I could feel the tension between us growing. Rachel's hands slowly moved to mine, her fingers lightly curling around my wrist. You don't have to face this alone, Dave. I'm here for you no matter what. Her touch sent a shiver down my spine, and I looked at her, trying to process everything that was happening. Rachel had always been a good friend, someone I could rely on, but tonight, there was something different in her. Something more. I've always liked you, Dave, she confessed, her voice softer now, almost hesitant. But you were with Veronica, and I didn't want to mess things up now that your relationship with her is over. I can finally admit it. She paused, her thumb brushing across the back of my hand. I always cared about you, more than just as a friend. The words hung in the air between us, and I felt my heart race again. Her confession caught me off guard, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. There had always been a connection between us, even if we never acted on it. Before you always like me? I asked, still trying to wrap my mind around it. She nodded, her eyes meeting mine with an honesty that was impossible to ignore. Yeah, Dave, but I never said anything because you were always so happy with Veronica. I never wanted to get in the way. I was silent for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in, and then, without warning, she leaned in, her eyes searching mine for any sign of hesitation, and that was when she kissed me. It started slow, tentative, her lips soft and warm against mine, but it quickly deepened. My heart pounded in my chest, and everything else seemed to fade away. All the hurt, all the confusion, none of it mattered in that moment. One thing led to another, and before I knew it, we were in bed together. The connection we had, the comfort of being close to someone who seemed to understand, made everything else feel distant, almost like a bad dream. Rachel didn't just distract me from the mess my life had become. She helped me forget, even if it was just for a while. The following weeks, our relationship grew. It was unexpected, but it felt right. We spent more time together, and every time I saw her, I felt a little more alive. It wasn't just about filling the void Veronica had left. It was something new, something different, and I was drawn to her in a way I hadn't expected. Rachel was at my house one afternoon, lounging on the couch with a book while I was in the kitchen. The quiet hum of the house felt comforting, but then just as I was about to make coffee, I heard a knock at the door. I froze for a second, not expecting anyone. I walked over, opened the door, and there stood Veronica, her eyes puffy like she'd been crying. Dave, please, she started, her voice shaky. I need to talk to you. I'm so sorry. No, I messed up. Please just hear me out. I stood there for a moment, unsure of what to say. After everything she had done, I never thought I'd see her again, let alone standing on my doorstep asking for forgiveness. But then my eyes shifted to the couch behind me, and I saw Rachel. She had gotten up and was standing there, watching the exchange between us, her face unreadable. Veronica's gaze followed mine, and her eyes immediately narrowed when she saw Rachel standing there. You're with her, she snapped, her voice sharp with disbelief. I tried to keep my cool, but Veronica's reaction was immediate. She took a step toward Rachel, almost like she was ready to confront her. You really think you can just waltz into my life and replace me like that? Rachel didn't back down. I'm not trying to replace you, Veronica. I'm just here for Dave, something you clearly couldn't do. Veronica's face reneged with anger, and she turned to me, her tone more frantic. Now, Dave, please, you can't be serious about her after everything we've been through. Don't let her turn you against me. I love you. I made a mistake, but I'll do whatever it takes to make it right. I didn't know what to say. Part of me still felt the remnants of the love I once had for her, but it was fading fast, replaced by the anger and hurt she'd caused. And then there was Rachel, who had been my supporter through it all. Veronica, it's over, I said, my voice firm, trying to keep control of the situation. You made your choice, and I've made mine. Her face twisted in frustration and pain, but I didn't waver. Please, she whispered, Dave, don't do this. Don't let her ruin what we had. You ruined it, Veronica, I said coldly, my words cutting through the tension. And I'm done. You need to leave. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't say another word. She just turned and walked out, slamming the door behind her over the next few weeks. Life started to settle into a new rhythm. Veronica's part in my life was over, and it felt like a door had slammed shut on that chapter. Rachel and I grew even closer, and we knew we wanted something different, something far away from the past we'd both left behind. We decided to move to a new city, somewhere where no one knew us, where we could start fresh, far from the weight of the memories that had burdened us. It was a leap, but it felt right. Together we built something new. I never spoke to Veronica again. Her calls and messages went unanswered, and with each passing day the anger and hurt I'd once felt faded into the background, replaced by a sense of peace I hadn't known in a long time. Rachel and I started a new life, one full of promise and hope, and while the past would always be a part of me, I finally felt like I was free to move forward. Thank you for watching. Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I was on top of the world when Veronica said yes. After 3 years of dating, I knew she was the one. We had a perfect relationship, or so I thought. Everything felt right, from the way she laughed at my dumb jokes to the way she held my hand when we walked together. I couldn't imagine my life without her. We started planning the wedding almost immediately. Veronica took charge of most of the details. I didn't mind. I was just happy to be marrying her. One night, as we were going over the guest list, she casually mentioned her bachelorette party. Rachel and the girls want to take me to Vegas, she said, her eyes lighting up. Vegas, huh? I raised an eyebrow. It'll be fun, just a weekend with the girls, nothing crazy, she assured me. All right, I said, smiling, just don't gamble away all our savings. She laughed, leaning in to kiss me. Don't worry, I'll be good. I believed her. The day of her trip, I helped her pack. We joked around and everything felt normal. Are you sure you don't want to come along and crash the party, she teased. Nah, I trust you, I said, grinning. Plus I'll be busy with my own bachelor party. Just promise me you'll behave. She gave me a playful punch on the arm. You've got nothing to worry about. I think you can last until Monday evening without me. We drove to the airport on Friday morning, and I kissed her goodbye, watching her disappear through the security gates. I had no idea then that it would be the last time I'd look at her without feeling a pang of betrayal. The first night she was gone, I didn't think much of it. I texted her good night, and she replied with a short good night, love, miss you already. That same night I had my own bachelor party. Nothing wild, just a small gathering with a few close friends at Anthony's place. I've never been a fan of big parties or the whole last night a freedom concept. We ordered some pizza, cracked open a few beers, and spent the evening reminiscing about old times. It was low-key, exactly how I liked it. The night went on without much fanfare. By the end, I felt good, grounded, and ready to step into married life. I figured Veronica was having the time of her life in Vegas, and I was happy for her. But as the weekend progressed, her responses became fewer and more delayed. When I called, she often didn't pick up, sending a text hours later saying she was busy. I chalked it up to her having fun and being caught up in the excitement of Vegas. Still, something didn't sit right. I tried to ignore the growing pit in my stomach. Then late on Sunday night, my phone buzzed. It was Rachel on